If you thought the 4th of July was going to be a quiet week for oil and gas, buckle up because it's anything but. This is Crude Logic.
We drill it deep, we build this land with busted knuckles and calloused hands. This is Crude Logic. Welcome to the show.
Good morning and welcome back to Crude Logic, your daily shot of clarity in an industry that runs on chaos. Today's show is fueled, as always, by Pump Jack Apparel. If you work in the patch or just love the people who do, go gear up at their site. Rep the industry that runs the world. And the tunes bringing you in and out of this episode today come from Whitewater Ford, Colorado Delta blues with a little grit, streaming everywhere right now. More on both later. Let's get into it.
Okay, market update for today. We are at $70 even with West Texas. That's down 1%. Brent's at 73.35, up 0.25%. And Henry Hub is at 325, up 2.2%. The current rig count is at 573, according to the latest numbers from Baker Hughes. Crude is sliding this morning on concerns of rising supplies. Traffic in the Strait of Hormuz has rebounded after the 15th U.S.-Iranian ceasefire. And Morgan Stanley cut oil price forecast for the second time in 2 weeks, calling for a global growing supply. It's almost like they flip the light switch on and off when they do this. They're just like, today I think we're going to have a shortage. Tomorrow, it's an oversupply.
Right. I think a lot of it has to do with the Strait of Hormuz, Iran, the war's
I feel like
on,
it's
the
been that way
war's
for
off.
years, though. They're like, when our stocks are falling, bombing in Iran. Our stocks are getting higher than we want. Oversupply.
U.S.-Iran talks resumed today in Doha. They're picking back up after Tuesday's session, which I guess left both sides publicly disagreeing on transit fees through the Strait. Iran says it'll waive fees for 60 days. Thanks. I don't even know what that accomplished. I guess that's the agreement under the current deal, but it's holding the door open to charges later, something that U.S., Europe, and the Gulf states are not thrilled about. I guess what we're all going to be hanging on then is these talks that are going on between the U.S. and Iran in Doha. Yesterday, I guess they had some talks, some disagreements on fees and all this stuff. And it really doesn't make a lot of sense because I thought we had military dominance over them.
I don't understand how these negotiations always, it seems like any negotiation in the Middle East is this way, but they have, one day they're like, hey, we're talking about everything. We've come to an agreement. And the next day they're like, oh, the agreement went bad because they bombed a ship. It's like, if they weren't happy with the terms, why didn't they just make a phone call? I don't get it.
The politics of it all are just kind of ridiculous in the sense that, okay, well, we've bombed them. They have no navy. They have nothing. They're worthless. They can't fight. They're terrified. The people are starving, and which is probably true. But, well, we got them basically by their ass. And then they go out and go, no, you don't. And then they shoot at boats. And then we're like, oh, well, I saw the VP a little recently. He's like, these ceasefires can be kind of difficult. They can be kind of touchy. It's not. What does cease mean? Anyway, it's almost like they're toying with us. I really, really got Trump's back here. I think that something needed to be done about Iran. If something's done about Iran instead of, 2 or 3 months of target practice, and then we just go back to the way it was.
There's a lot of people in the beginning of this little skirmish saying that that's how it would play out, that no matter what we did, nothing would change and it would just be the way that it always has been. And I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems to be so far more true than not.
Let's be honest, that area of the world, why there's not ground troops right there, or why there's not ground troops right now? Our military are capable of doing anything. And I do believe that we could probably impose our will on Iran. However, I don't think that I don't think that we're prepared for the loss that would be involved there. And so I'm glad that they haven't jumped right into the ground troop thing and all that. But it's really screwing with the markets right now. I mean, every little breaking thing that comes out of Doha is going to shift the market one way or the other. And so while the price per barrel of oil has decreased, the market, in my personal opinion, and I'm not a stock market guy, it just seems to make sense to me that the market, based on this situation, is not stable. So anything that comes out of Doha could jack the price per barrel up $10 a barrel overnight. So obviously that's not happening, but it really could. So even though we have this drop, it hasn't shown up at the pump yet. And, they always say it, rises like a rocket and drops like a feather. I understand the dynamics behind that, but the market is shifting. It's not stable, and markets always shift, but this can be something that causes markets to shift really big back and forth every day.
Yeah.
So
you got like half the analysts are saying that it's going to continue to drop, and I saw one yesterday said the bubble has burst. And then I've seen other people who are like, no, it's going to be $150 a barrel next month, and you're like, I don't know who to believe, but activity's picking up slightly. So, I mean, it's good. But
well, everything looks good. As far as rig count goes, we've already kind of talked about the efficiency and how that's, causing, and we're going to cover it a little bit more later in this episode, but the efficiency and the capabilities of these new rigs, new technology, you can do more with less. We are the number one exporter now. I guess I would have to talk to a financial person to find out, but it confuses me that if we have an abundance of the commodity and we are exporting more than any other country, then
why aren't our prices lower at the pump?
Why aren't our prices lower at the pump?
I've never understood the whole rises like a rocket, drops like a feather deal. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, we've all done this long enough to know, like, hey, the prices or the price of oil is going up. We know that's going to make XXX cost more. Let's raise the price at the pump immediately, and that way we're not negative. That I get. It doesn't make any sense on the other side. If it's falling, it's falling. The same adjustments can be made. We just don't do it.
Their argument is that, well, these mom and pops or these gas stations or places that purchase the gasoline, the price per barrel has went up, so they have to raise their prices because the price per barrel went up. But the gas that's sitting in their tanks the day that the price per barrel goes up wasn't bought at that price, but they raise the prices immediately. Then whenever the prices go down, they say, well, they had to pay these higher prices for the stock they have now. So
at some point, they all got together, not the individual stores, but the industry as a whole got together and said, hey, look, this doesn't work because, you're waiting until Tuesday to raise your prices. So we're all going to raise our prices at the same time.
If they're raising the prices immediately because the price per barrel went up, even though they didn't pay that price, and then later they take time to come down because they had to, because of the inventory that they have, they had to pay more. Well, if they raise it that quick, they can drop it that quick, and it seems to be a net zero loss because they made money on the stuff that they bought cheap. So anyway,
smart business though. No longer for profit. We are now more profit. You heard about the shooting in Midland 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, with the 11 people shot or whatever, and I don't know how many died. I can't remember.
Only one died outside of the shooter. The shooter killed himself, but the one of the guys that was shot, he's been in the hospital ever since. Had several surgeries, like life-threatening ICU. He's been in the hospital for 10 days now, I think, since the shooting. 14 days. I don't remember exactly when the shooting was. But anyway, yesterday, his company fired him.
Really?
Yeah. So they asked him to resign, which he, of course, said, no, I'm in a hospital bed from an active shooter situation. I can't help that I'm not out selling a guy for them. Sorry, I'm late for work or can't make it today or whatever. Anyway, they asked him to resign. He declined, so they let him go. And it's like all over the news down here in Midlands. Like, I can't imagine. Like, I don't care if they were planning on letting the guy go already. he gets in an active shooter situation and gets shot, it's like terrible publicity for your company to let the guy
Yeah.
go. You know,
Yeah.
I
What are
just
you
can't believe it.
thinking? It's just completely insensitive.
Yeah.
Like what? So you've been shot in a you're totally a victim.
Not to
And now
kick you
you
while
have
you're
no way.
down, but
Right. Now we're going to take away your ability to provide for your family.
yeah, it was the article I was reading about it was was saying that he was I think it was his 8th wedding anniversary, the day that they let him go. And it was like, dude, you got to be kidding me. Like, I mean, not to try to, I mean, I think it's terrible that they would do this for, publicity reasons, but just in general, being a decent human, it's a terrible thing that they did it.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. I'm sure they're going to be bombarded with people calling them and, commenting on every post they make and whatever.
That's unacceptable. And they should pay a price for doing that to this guy. I don't even care if he was the worst employee they ever had. If this is what excuse you're going to use to get rid of him, like, what's wrong with your HR department?
Yeah. When I first heard about it, I was thinking, there's got to be some sort of, it's got to be a small mom and pop that just started and they just don't have the insurance and they just can't help the guy, and like, I was almost sympathetic at first thinking like, this could be like a tragic thing that puts their whole company out of business and they got 8 or 10 people who are unemployed. They had to make a tough call and let the guy go. So I look up the company and I'm like, no, that's not the case. These guys have money. Like,
It's an international conglomerate.
yeah. I mean, it's not, but it's big enough. They got like several trucks and, they're fine.
That's a pretty horrible story, man. It's heartless, really.
Yeah, it really is.
But anyway, back to the things that are affecting the market.
So there's more. We didn't really talk about it yet, but yesterday we talked about the Williams and Momentum deal, and then yesterday afternoon, San Mateo Midstream and Cardinal Midstream announced a merger, a purchase, an acquisition of Cardinal for $752 million.
Has the activity for acquisitions on the midstream side just suddenly peaked?
That's been going on in the drilling for 2 years now. Well, even longer, but big moves in the last 2 years. So I don't know. Midstreams look like it's just now getting to that stage.
Bottom line is that the market isn't trading on fundamentals right now. It's basically trading out off of what the headlines coming out of Doha. So every alert this week is going to move the needle.
But trading on presidential tweets and whichever Khomeini or whatever is ruling now.
Probably more Donald Trump tweets, because really that's the only information we get out of these talks.
It's actually more information than we get out of the news too.
It's more direct.
Yeah.
It's not clouded by anything.
I love his tweets because he's just like, yeah, the negotiations didn't go well. So we dropped a missile on this guy's house and we're going to negotiate with his son tomorrow. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Who's next? Next man up. We got acquisitions happening in midstream. We've got talks going on in Doha. We've got fluctuating prices for oil. It's another day of chaos. If you are an employer and you have an employee that gets shot as a victim in a mass shooting, recommendation is don't fire that guy.
Yeah. Good business practice.
Not good at all. Very bad PR. So with that being said, everybody, thanks for tuning in again to this episode. And remember, stay safe, keep drilling, and it's only logic if it's crude logic. We'll see you next time.
Coffee black, steel toes hitting an old gravel track. Hard hats on, boots in the mud, turning diesel into blood. From the Permian dirt to the Rocky Mountain snow, if the rig starts drilling, we're ready to go. Sun comes up, another 12, ain't nobody gonna do it themselves. We drill it deep, we build this land with busted knuckles and calloused hands. This is crude logic. Welcome to the show.